Everyone, it's Yvonne here to do the reading for the lovely sign of Capricorn. So just my little blurbs at the beginning. Firstly, thank you so much for watching my channel. If you're new on board, welcome. I always do the astrology thing at the beginning because I think it's so important. If you are a Capricorn, that means you identify as a Capricorn. So if I were to say to you, what sign are you? And you'd say Capricorn, that is your sun sign. It is only one single aspect of your chart. We tend to do that because it's been westernized. It's just the way it is. But if you want to know more about star signs and you've got a few minutes, Google yourself a birth chart or a natal chart. Put in the details of your birth, where you were born. If you have the time of your birth, even better. But if you don't, it's not so important. And you will bring up a natal chart. Google natal chart, Cafe Astrology, give you a free report you can download. Try that out, because what it will tell you is where your moon was when you were born, your Venus, and all of the other planets, which mean that if you want to look at a particular aspect of your life, such as work, then you can go to Saturn and have a look at how you relate to work. It can also help you following up things like, and thanks Joan, because she always reminds me, if you want to know where you're going in life and where you've come from, when you're born, you're in the south node, and when you're moving through life, you're moving towards a north node. So if you can find out where they are, they may help you to evolve. But everything about it is really interesting and goes to show why we know other Capricorns, but we seem, even though we have some things in common, we seem a little different because of that. So we're all different depending where the planets were. And even if you have someone who has the same planets, they will be at different degrees, which sort of changes things a little bit. So definitely worth doing. Go and have a look. The second thing I want to talk about just quickly while I'm shuffling is to be careful of scammers. A lot of problem with them. I'm getting a lot of phone calls now where they're real people telling me things are corrupt, or that I've got people touching money and all this sort of thing. So they're really trying every avenue to get to you. I wish that once you told them to rack off, they would leave you alone, but they don't. Even on my Facebook page, it's constant. We will cast a spell and get your lover back. We will give you a free reading. I've got messages for you, come to me, but they're all on my page. So just be aware that that already is a red flag. If you do want a reading with me, go about it the right way. You make that choice. You email me at theaussiegoddess@gmail.com. I don't force you to take a reading from me, as much as I get accused of such hideous things on my page. That's not who I am. So if you want a reading with me, you choose it, you email me, you make the decision. Anything else? Oh, I do have membership now on my page, so if you're interested in a membership with me, we are learning the tarot. So if you are interested, just press the join button or the membership button. You will need a deluxe membership to get access to those classes. All right, we're going to use the Morgan Greer Tarot for your reading. If you watched the What's Cracking reading this morning, I said it was the Morgan Greer Tarot. I lied. That was the Radiant White. This is the Morgan Greer. I think I might have been looking at this when I said it, but anyway, all good. We all make mistakes. All right, we are ready. So we're starting off with the Five of Swords. You know, the Five of Swords is a card that talks about us walking away from something for some reason. Sometimes it can be because we're feeling selfish and we've taken what we need and we're going. For me, it always makes me feel like this energy of a Pyrrhic victory, where, you know, sometimes we just have to walk away from something even if we don't want to, like giving up an addiction. So it is a card that says to me there is something that you're leaving behind, not necessarily because you want to, but because you know that it's better for you to turn your back on it. So in this card, we see somebody winning all the swords, but there's nobody there to celebrate the victory. And that's why it sort of comes up as this energy of, I don't really want to walk away, but I have no choice. I need to do this. You're becoming single, or you're choosing to leave something behind to invest in yourself. So again, it could be that you're letting an addiction go because you're really focused on who you are here. sort of somewhat resonates a little bit. Seven of Swords. Are you letting go of self-sabotage? Are you letting go of some sort of cycle? Because you've got stability coming through with the Ten of Cups. Okay, it'll be really interesting if a Capricorn reading resonates with me, because they rarely do. But this sort of makes me feel somehow that it might be for me too. So that's always a good thing. Sometimes we sort of go through life and we don't realize that we're repeating patterns. Sometimes they can be so ingrained in who we are that we don't actually see them unless we go looking for them, or whether we are given a sign from the universe that is something we need to change. So for example, let's say you are not really good at eating your fruit and vegetables. I always love this because my grandmother's always sort of come through with that whole, you need to eat more fruit and veggies. And sometimes we don't realize how important it is for us to eat our fruit and veggies. And we go through life, we maybe sort of skip that, don't have time for that type of thing. And then you decide then, I know this is a really loose example, but you decide one day that you're going to change your attitude to that. Why do you not eat your fruit and veggies? Is it that they take too much time to eat? Is it that you don't like them? You know, is there some reason why you don't sort of eat fruit and veggies? And then you realize that you've been doing it that way for such a long time. It's just become a habit for you. But you know it's not good for you. So why do you keep doing it when you actually know deep down it's not good for you? And I feel like there's sort of this sort of epiphany, or this point in time when you realize that what you've been doing is not good for you and you need to change it, and you make a conscious attempt to change. And sometimes you have to put strategies in place to do that. Like I always say, when I was young, I had a really poor self-esteem. I had no confidence whatsoever. And I remember starting my journey with lots of affirmations, and I had them, my kids were really small, and I had these affirmations everywhere, all over my cupboards, everywhere. And every day I would say them. Every day I would look in the mirror and say them, because I was so desperate to change that about myself, and it was the only way I knew then to make those changes. To me, this is something, Capricorn, where you need to leave something behind. It could be a person, but whatever it is, you've understood that this habit or this way of doing things, this cycle, is not serving you any longer, and it needs to change. All right, so we have the Magician coming through. That's a really nice card to get when you're in this situation. There's your choice there, Two of Swords. You may be in a bit of a stalemate here. Knight of Pentacles with the Judgment card. There is something about yourself here that you are rebirthing. And sometimes we get an opportunity to change something. And when we do, we realize how much better our lives are for changing that particular thing. Now, I've talked a little bit this week around meeting people who have narcissistic traits, or who are, you know, it may be you meet people who are always players, or you meet people who aren't really interested in a relationship. And there has to be a point where you stop blaming them for that and start looking at, what is it about me that they keep coming after? And I know that that is the case, because years ago I remember saying, why is it I attract these people all the time? And I was told that I do not attract them, they see me. And I realized there was something about me that pulls people in. There is an energy we give off, even as children, that say to predators that we are easy prey. And we have to change that about ourselves by being open, more alert, being the observer in our life. Perhaps testing conversations, perhaps not trusting everybody until we're sure we can trust. But whatever it is here, there is a really strong energy of you needing to change the way you see something. You need to leave something behind in order to rebirth yourself. And that is very clear here. Now, there is a bit of a stalemate here. So it does make me think that perhaps you have cycled this before. You may have done this before, made a decision. Let's look at losing weight. Because many of us, especially if you're an empath, you will understand the energy of trying to keep your weight down. How many times do you need to focus on your diet before you realize that you're still eating poorly? and that is the reason. So, you know, when we rebirth, we come to a conclusion that what we're doing is no longer serving us, and we do give it away completely. And I feel like you're sort of at that juncture. All right, let's have a look. Four of Swords coming through with the Queen of Cups. There needs to be self-love here. You need to let go of this idea of how things are and understand you can change. Now, you hear this often with people. I'm too old to change. I'm too this to change. I'm too stuck in my ways. No, everybody can change. Everybody can make a difference in their own life. And here, I see a person who needs to love themselves more, a person who needs to understand how important they are in the grand scheme of things. If this is about a person, because you're starting off with the Magician and you've got the Judgment card over the other side, I feel like here you have the capacity to change something about you in order to deal with something externally. Okay, so we have the Hanged Man coming through with the Eight of Swords and then the Ten of Swords. Okay. You know, sometimes when we make a change, it is really difficult. That's why you've got the Five of Swords here. It's very difficult for us to turn our back on. If this is a relationship for you, you could be dealing with a water sign, a Pisces in particular, a lot of Pisces energy here. But if this is about a person in your life, could be romantic. Don't really have a lot of romantic cards here, but sometimes this can be a family member or a friend. There's somebody we have to turn our back on, because even though we feel some love for them, they really aren't serving us in the long run. Maybe you finally started to be the observer. Maybe you're starting to see the way they treat you or how they speak to you. Maybe you have awakened enough to see this is not serving you. All right, so we have you walking away and you're focusing very much on yourself. Have the Queen of Cups right in the middle of the reading. So that says to me that you are loving and respecting yourself enough to walk away from this sabotage. I do have the Four of Wands, so I do think with this Ten of Cups here that you are closing out a cycle. See, the thing is, when we repeat a pattern, we start to see our own victim mentality. We start to see that victim mentality. It comes through very, very strongly. We hear it in what we're saying. We see it in what we're doing. And when we see somebody coming back around again that has not served us well, for example, say you had somebody in your life, possibly a Pisces here, who always turns up on your doorstep and asks for a favor. And then one day you think, oh, I need some help from somebody. And you ask them knowing that you have helped them so many times that perhaps they will help you back again, and they're not there for you. But yet the week after, they're back asking you for another favor. They obviously think they're more important than you. So there comes a point where you stop and you think, what is it about this person that they can treat me the way they do, but they don't know how to help back again or do something nice back again. And some people keep doing it because their belief in that people pleasing, or their belief in always giving and not taking, is so strong. That's that Six of Pentacles energy, where you're always investing in something and never getting anything back. If that is the case, I feel like you're going to make great change here. 13:37 on the clock. So look up 13:37. Because I feel like somehow or another, maybe you have been taking this for so long, not considering your own well-being, that perhaps now you need to stop and consider whether you need to walk away and leave this alone, whatever it is. So I'm not talking about just doing a favor from someone. I'm not talking about something you do every now and again. We're not talking about things in moderation. We're talking about something that's really starting to plague you. The initiation, rite of passage, and crossing the threshold. Let's have a look and see what it says. The initiation. Okie dokie. The initiation, 68. 68. Some of the most sacred initiation chambers and temples look scary from the outside, but are breathtakingly beautiful on the inside. This represents the journey that the soul pilgrim is required to take to reach somewhere sacred. But only the initiated can enter. Perhaps that's where you are right now. You are being tested, initiated, because you're heading somewhere sacred into yourself, I believe. Okay, so initiations require that we cross the threshold from one world or state of being to the other. So you're taking yourself, look, we are called to face what scares us and have to be willing to lose it all in order to gain a new way of being, of safety, of security, of depth, of meaning. So I feel like this, it says if you're in the middle of initiation right now, you'll get through it. And you will bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open, because the world needs you open. You're going somewhere sacred, it'll be worth it, and you're closer than you think. So I feel like somehow or another here you're being asked to leave something behind for your own well-being, because you deserve so much more, because whatever it is holding you back from reaching your potential. Capricorn, I will leave you with that. Thank you.